Hello, everyone. So for part two, what we're going to do is design the database schema to hold the user objects. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my default gel. So this was made by Gel Project Init, and I have a separate video series on that. So what I want is, so my type user, and to look back at our user.go. So what I'll do, copy these, paste, and then I make everything required, and then all of these are strings. Okay, so now that I've got that, the next thing I want to do is say gel migration create. Gel migrate. Perfect. So now if I go in here, I can say select user. So the model's in there, but there's no data yet. So the next part is I have to install a couple things. So I have to say, oops, install here. So now that I've got that, and there's going to be an issue that's going to come up. So what EdgeQL Go does is it takes an EdgeQL query file and generates the Golang functions that will be able to process it, and they have other client libraries for other languages. So here I will say user save HQL. I'm going to say insert user, and I'll come back over here, copy all this, paste. All these are strings. Okay, so let's see, I got my username, password, object ID, and email. So if I say go tool edgeql go, it's going to pop up with this error, which I think I filed a bug report for it. But anyway, so how I get out of this is I say go mod vendor, and in a file called conutils, there's this stash dir right here. So what I do is I say func.println stash dir, and then I'll run the tool again. And what it'll do is it'll print out what it thinks the stash directory is, and it says, hey, I can't find this. So over here, pull this over here, I go in here, and then so this is the project folder that it created, but it doesn't know exists. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to come back here and then rename it to this. Okay, and it's got the same data, so that should be okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go here, X out here, and then let's see if this works. All right, so that works. So let me do it again so you know I'm not making this up. And then now I have my generated Go file. So over here, I can say something like func u star user save, and then I'm going to say user save, and then now I need my context and my client. So I'm going to say here, I'm going to say client.go. Say var gel.client, and then var ctx context.context. Oh, package models. Okay, and then this is saying could not import So let's get this, see if I've got it. So go get, okay. Go on vendor. Okay. And now we got that fixed. So now I've got my client and then I've got my context. So usually I just use the ctx client and then u.username, u.password, u.objid, u.email. Here, error, return error. Okay, got that working. So back over here in main, instead of having this, say me.save error equals that, and if error is anything else, show me the error. All right, so we've got all that done. And now say go run. Go. I'm actually curious. Oh, we got panic. Oh, I know what's wrong. So I will do the initialization here. So I'll say gel.create client with no, and I'm not going to care about context.todo. All right, so now let's run this. And nothing bad happened. And if I say gel, and I say select user, I want all the attributes. And here we are. So I've got my user, so there's my email, object ID, the password, and the username. And one bit of information, or at least a tip here, is just allow GelData to work with IDs. Don't try to use them as object identifiers because you don't know what they're going to be until you put them in the database. So I always try to just set my own object IDs on each item. That way I know ahead of time what the object ID is going to be, and then that way I can use it in my code and not have to hit the database twice to get an ID back. So that's just a little optimization. But for now, that's all I wanted to cover. And if you'd like me to go into more detail on any particular item, just drop in the comments. I'm happy to take a look. Thank you.